All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Feroldi, and we are joined today by Mr. Brian Stoffel. Brian, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Me too. Thanks, everyone, for checking out our YouTube channel. Brian and I are going to be kicking off a new series where we are going to be researching stocks that we have never heard of before from scratch. We think this is going to be a wonderful educational series for new investors to watch us go through SEC filings, go to the company's websites, ask questions of each other, and take companies through each of our investing checklists so we determine whether or not we think a stock is investable. Brian, can you just quickly give us an overview of how you invest? Because it's very unique.
Sure. So I call my framework the anti-fragile framework, and that comes from the work of Nassim Taleb, who's written the book Anti-Fragile. But the premise that you need to understand is that what anti-fragile means is it's something that actually, instead of breaking under pressure, can actually get stronger. So I want to invest in companies that get stronger when unexpected things happen. And the other premise that you just need to understand is that I believe that the world will largely be driven, let's say over the next 20 years, by 3 or 4 events that we can't predict. And we have a perfect example of it now. Go back to January 1st, 2020. I don't think anybody was preparing for a pandemic, but that single thing has affected everything else. And so I think we'll have more events like that in the future. And I want to invest in companies that can get stronger when those events come up.
Love it. And Brian has been thrashing the market's return basically since as long as I have known him. And he has a track record of picking wonderful companies to invest in. So his framework is called the Anti-Fragile Framework. And we're going to be taking stocks through his framework. I just want to quickly show you what that looks like. So here is Brian's scoring method. As you can see, there are basically 8 different categories that he comes along with. And he measures, according to the barbell. Brian, what is the barbell method?
The barbell, it's a little bit misleading because you're used to seeing 2 equal weights on each side. But really what the barbell method is it means that you devote 80% of your resources to a business, in this case, that is highly safe. It has a wide moat. So for instance, with Google or Alphabet, their advertising business is that huge barbell. But you take 15 to 20% of your resources and you put it on high risk, high reward projects. And if 9 out of 10 fail, that's fine, because that one that hits will be a huge success. And that's where that other part there, optionality, comes in, the ability to create new ways of fulfilling your mission.
Yeah, I love that kind of thinking. It is exactly what you just said. Reinvesting in your core business, which is probably profitable or at least really close to profitability, and using some of your resources to develop new products and new services that can really expand your operations over time. Now, I want to quickly, if you could quickly talk about number 1 here, mission statement. That is a weird thing to start with. Can you explain?
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing. And what I'll just say real quick is my wife and I used to be middle school teachers, but we were at different schools. And my school had a mission, had a way of doing things that maybe it wasn't perfect for me, and her school said that they did. But what we discovered was that my school had a mission statement, and it drove everything, and it was to get kids to and through college. And so our decision-making process at the school was very easy, and it made working there very enjoyable. At her school, they didn't have a clear mission. So even though they wanted to adopt a form of education that I could get my arms around, it was really hard to make decisions. Well, take that and apply it to a company. If you have a mission that's clear, that is inspiring, and that there's many ways that you can fulfill that mission, it makes things run so much easier within that company. So I took a lesson that I learned as a teacher and I applied it to companies.
I love that thinking, and you have been the person that has really taught me the value of mission statements, and I am 100% aligned with you. I think they are the most overlooked, underutilized business investing tool in the world. So, viewers, we're going to be talking about mission statements. We're going to be assessing a company's moat. Can you dive a little bit on optionality, because that's an important category for you?
Sure. Again, optionality is having multiple ways of fulfilling your mission. Amazon's a great example. You go back 20 years and they're just a bookseller. Well, and then they became something that could sell pretty much anything. And then they became a web hosting giant. And then they became a shipping giant. That's what optionality is their mission was to be Earth's most customer-centric company since day one. And all we've been seeing is them finding new ways to fulfill that mission.
Exactly. Awesome. So we're going to be looking at the company's mission, the company's moat, optionality. We're going to be looking at its financial statements, concentration. What does that mean?
You don't want to be a company that relies on one or two customers for most of your business. Just ask any of Apple's old suppliers, because once Apple changes its mind, those companies that are relying on Apple for a huge portion of their business, they go out of business.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we want to make sure the concentration, customer concentration risk is one of the biggest risks that companies can face. So the anti-fragile framework, that introduces a single point of failure, and anti-fragility is all about eliminating as many single points of failure as you can. Finally, just give us a quick overview on skin in the game.
Sure. The idea is that when you can suffer negative consequences for your decisions, you'll usually make better decisions. So I like to check and see how the employees feel about working there. We use Glassdoor. It's not a perfect proxy, but it's a data point. I like to see if the founder's involved, because the founder often views a company as an extension of his or herself, much more than just financial incentives. But I also, that last one, ownership, like to see if they are financially incented to do well, because then they're aligned with myself as a shareholder.
Love that. So there you go. So we're going to be taking stocks through both Brian's framework as well as my framework. This is a checklist that we think helps us tremendously to make better investing decisions. So we want you to pitch us stocks. We are going to be keeping track of what stocks are pitched to us, and we are going to be taking them methodically, one at a time, through Brian's framework and my framework. So we are thrilled that you are here. Brian, looking forward to getting started with you.
Me too.
All right, bud. See you soon. Okay. How do I stop recording? End broadcast.